Hello, world, and welcome to a transit chart reading that's also going to incorporate a birth chart. So I'm going to be looking at John Travolta's chart because he has lost another partner, which I find tragic and I also find interesting because what I already know about this full moon is that it's occurring at 16 degrees of Gemini. And this full moon, as I've talked about in previous videos, is conjunct the planet Mars. And both those objects will be in the 16th degree of Gemini. And the minute I looked at John Travolta's chart, I noticed something interesting that's sitting at 16 degrees of Gemini, which is Jupiter. And Jupiter is oftentimes associated with luck. It is expansive. It's higher thoughts, wisdom, philosophy. And this is all happening in his 12th house. In this 12th house, that's also associated with the unseen, a realm of consciousness that we go to by ourselves, where we go to isolate. It can be retreats, hospitals, isolation, and maybe even prison. So you kind of get the general theme of this being it's very spiritual. And Gemini, it's the sign of partnership or the twins, the pair. There's two of them. So I thought that was an interesting chart to pull up. Plus, this is opposing his natal Mars by house, not by degree, but by house. And the ruler of his 6th house is Jupiter. So it looks like a very personal full moon, and there's more that I could say about this chart, but just wanted to mention that, and I'll show you what that looks like now. This inner ring is John Travolta's natal chart, and the outer ring is the transits that are taking place today. And you'll see Mars is already on that 16th degree, and the moon is approaching Mars. And the moon is the ruler of John Travolta's chart because he's a Cancer rising. For this native of this chart to lose a partnership, lose someone that they were in partnership with, a big expansive partnership, this is how it might appear in the chart. I don't know if there's anything more that I could talk about aside from this relationship between Gemini and Sagittarius, which is something I'm interested in talking about as well. Gemini's being short distance travel, communication, kind of like a direct connection into communication, sharing, twins, siblings, neighbors, cousins, early childhood. It's like when you're confined to that small thinking space of adolescence, where you still kind of identified as this separate entity that's kind of wandering around, collecting information, gathering ideas, and able to take on multiple different roles. That's what another interesting thing about them being in partnership in this theatrical partnership. Gemini is good at tricks and magic like that, and making that, taking on that other face. And Sagittarius is expansive ideas. So the kind of opposite, but foreign travel, higher education, philosophy, bigger, expansive ideas, how you go across long distances and how you kind of connect with divinity and the whole. with Sagittarius, there's some sort of pursuit of the absolute truth, wisdom instead of trivia. I see a theme there that it's I don't know if I can even describe it, but it's just kind of like the play that you were putting on, the show that you were putting on, that's being let go for John Travolta. Doesn't describe why things are happening to him. It just kind of describes the energy that's being exchanged with his natal energy. So the timing is what's important. You couldn't get really much closer with timing. This Gemini full moon is hitting a very prominent placement in John Travolta's chart. And this 16th degree where his Jupiter, his natal Jupiter is located, is the exact place that this full moon will occur. This kind of event helps us to understand how the timing of the movement of the planets might match up with our personal lives. So this particular Gemini full moon is extra impactful, and particularly when it's hitting planets in our personal charts. So I wish you all the best. Thank you for joining me for this transit update, and I'll be back to talk about another transit soon.